Hey, YouTube family. As you see, I'm not coming to you in my usual way. I'm coming to you very raw in one of my intimate space here. Um, now I'm not in the truck. I'm not out in the woods. I'm not at some location. I'm just here to talk to you to address the emails and concerns that people have sent. As before, I take your emails and your concerns very seriously, and I jump right on and I talk about them. Um, I don't have a whole lot of followers on this page, and I just didn't think going live would work, so I started to go live, but I changed my mind and I figured I'd just do it this way, and you can watch it when you can because people are working and might miss it or whatever the case may be. But as before, when you guys came to me and you were concerned about the gun laws and the police reciprocity and what do we do and where the country was going, that was a small part of the beginning of what we're seeing now in our country. And I immediately I got you all the information I could, did a part one and part two video on that, and now I'm here. And I don't think this would be a part one, part two video. This is just my experiences and my advice and what I see. And I encourage you guys, you don't just have to email me. Please just comment, because if you go into the comments, there are other people there that get to see them, that are experiencing things, that can share information and advice, probably better advice than I could give you. Um, yeah, if you have, people are there for concerns, and I understand some people don't want people to know who they are and all of that, and I get it. So okay, so here we are. Some of the concerns are definitely about, well, all of the concerns are about where the world is going and is unrecognizable. And it was never a normal, because people saying, man, I wish things could just go back to normal. There was never a normal for us, not just in our country, but globally. There was never really a real normal. It was a situation where we were slowly seduced. Like if you think about it, from sitting somewhere and you're real comfortable, and then you look down and your shoe is missing a shoelace, and you're like, well, how did that happen? Then you get distractions. Then you look down and you're missing another shoelace, and you're like, okay, well, I can get another shoelace, but man, what's going on? And then you distracted, and now you're missing your shoes, and then you're missing your socks. And it happens very gradual changes. And that has come from us being complacent. That has come from us um, voting against our own interests. It has come from people ignoring real things and real situations, figuring that, oh, it'll go away, or it's not going to be that bad, or it's not knocking at my door, or it's only happening to them, not us or me, or whatever the case may be. And this is how we get in these situations, you know, um, to the point where we think, oh my God, how did we get here? Now we're standing naked because everything slowly happens, and we've allowed these things to happen. So pushing all of that aside, um, as I said in the videos before, what you need to do is to prepare. And for some, it's probably too late. I'm just keeping it 100. For some, it's probably too late. You're probably getting on the bandwagon a little too late, when things are now going to be hyperinflated, harder to get because of shipment issues and restrictions and things and tariffs and things that are going to be happening. It's going to be a lot harder to get things. People are going to the grocery store talking about, how expensive eggs are and this and that. Well, at the end of the day, when you think about it, now we're dealing with this bird flu and this bird disease, and you got families standing in stores wondering, should they buy eggs? Should they buy chicken? Now, mind you, the egg prices are still going up. Chicken prices are still going up. Meat, everything's going up. Up. I mean, a box of cereal now is almost $6. Think about that. Cereal is almost $6. When you used to get a box of cereal for a couple of bucks, and even then that was kind of hyperinflated. So now you ask yourself this question. You say, well, if the chicken is bad and the eggs are bad, but they're still here in the store and the prices are high on them, should I buy them? Should I not buy them? Is it safe? Is it not safe? And these are the questions people are asking. I would say this: if you can find a local farmer, a small chicken farmer, try and get your chicken and eggs from them. To build your communities, I've said this before in videos, if you're not a master grower of everything, I'm a firm believer in do what you do best. If you grow potatoes and potatoes are your crop that you do very well, but you don't do that well with greens or carrots or something, then you could grow those for yourself and see what happens. But if you're producing potatoes, then you are an asset to your community and growing potatoes. Somebody else in your community may be great with tomatoes, and somebody else may be great with carrots and onions and garlic and microgreens and greens and so on. Whatever they do best is how you guys help each other in the community. You have potatoes, this person has greens, this person has beans, this person has garlic, this person has herbs, this person. Then that's how you guys trade amongst each other or buy and sell amongst each other, because you know who they are, they know who you are, they know what you grow, you know what they grow, and you know how they take care of the land. And nobody's overwhelmed trying to grow everything to feed everybody. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody has a specialty. Some people can just grow blackberries and blueberries and fruit and peaches and pecans and all of those things. So you might be a better fruit person. So everybody comes to you for fruit. Organize your groups that way. Who's good in first aid? Who's good in medical? Who's good with weapons and tactics training? These are all things you need to think about when you're putting together your groups. And you need to get out definitely and talk to your neighbors. Why? Because they may have resources and information that are very helpful to you, your community, or if nothing else, you'll get a gauge on what they're thinking, how they're feeling about the climate of the world. Are these people that you can trust? Are these people that you have to watch out for in the time of shift? Are these going to be the same neighbors that's going to come knocking at your door trying to rob or steal or take from you, or even harm you, for what you have? Certain things, your preparedness items and things that you have, there's no reason for you to broadcast everything that you have and what you do. And that wouldn't be a smart thing. I say all the time, practice, 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 practice. People are still talking about, ham radios and GRMS radios and what I need to do. And there are tons of videos on YouTube and on TikTok. And there are people that have go live on Talk and go live on this channel all the time going over radio procedures. And yet people will still say, what to do? How do I do it? And I think it comes down to, I know it comes down to you're not practicing. You're not turning on your radios. You're not practicing programming them. You're not in the communities running drills with your radios, actually talking on them. Try using your radios more than your cell phones if you're in close proximity, even if you're just in the house with your family or your friends, or you just going on a nature hike, or you camping. Use your radios more than your cell phones. Just get used to using them. It's just that simple. It's the same way with weapons. You can't say, I feel like I'm a poor shot, or I'm this, or I'm that, and I'm always jittery and around my weapon, and it makes me nervous. It's because you do not use your weapon enough. You're not practicing with your weapon enough. You're not firing it enough. You're not breaking it down enough. You haven't made it second nature. Just like if you were driving a vehicle or riding a bike or writing your name, you need to have those things just that second nature where you're comfortable and you're confident in using these things. And if you're not practicing these things, you're going to always be hitting a lot of people up on YouTube and on Talk and on different social platforms saying, hey, I don't know what to do or how to do it. The same way with growing and growing your crops, and think about it this way. If certain things do happen, soil changes, create a hydroponic system in your home. There are people that have in-house greenhouses where you could just grow in your home and have in-house greenhouses. You can do that. If you can't grow outside and you can't grow on your deck or you don't have enough acreage, you got to get creative in the time of problems and trouble. You have to get creative and you can't give up. You can't give up. There will be some people that will give up. There will be some people that will try and take from you. There will be some people that will say, oh, you're crazy or you're paranoid or whatever the case. You're going to deal with all of that. The only thing you could do is do the best thing that you could do for you. Okay? We got different series on go bags, get home bags, and as I explained before, all of those bags are different and they're going to be packed different depending on the season and your location. Those bags should be regularly checked for expired materials, first aid stuff, food, etc., and updated depending on the temperatures. If it's hot, if you're in a hot season, if you're in a rainy season, if you're in a winter season, if you're in an urban area or if you're in a rural area. Those will determine your bags. There's no one fixes all on bags. You're going to see hundreds and hundreds of go bag and ready bags on and get home bags on YouTube because it's the thing now. And surprisingly, a lot of these things are going up in prices. The bags, the supplies, the foods, the rations, everything is going up because the whole prepping community, the whole off-grid community now has made this a very popular thing, and it has actually hurt the culture more than it has helped the culture. I'm going to say it again. It has actually hurt the culture more than it has helped the culture by televising the revolution, if that makes any sense, because now you have people that supply these things to us saying, I can make more money because it's capitalism. I can make more money selling my products. I can raise the prices on them because people are fear buying. People are purchasing things out of fear. People are buying things because now everybody wants to be a glamper or RVer or outdoorsman or a bushcrafter. So now you have more and more people creating things for us to buy. They're creating more and more gadgets and cool things, and most of the gadgets are for people that are really not real experienced campers and bushcrafters, and some of them can be very convenient because they try and take the guesswork out of starting a fire, setting up a camp, pitching a tent. They try and make these things quick and easy and sell it to us. Hey, it saves time. And if you're having a hard time starting a fire, then you can always use this and you don't have to use that. Forget those old rubbing the sticks together. I say learn it all. Learn it all. Learn how to build a makeshift tent on your own. Learn how to rub those sticks together. Learn all the primitive and the modern ways to do things, because you never know what situation you're going to be in, and you may be in a situation where you're going to have to go primitive. But if all you know are gadgets and modern techniques, then you're going to have a hard time out there. And if you know primitive things and there are newer gadgets and things out there that can make life a little easier for you, and you're taking a longer time to start a fire or a longer time to put up a tent or what have you. And now you have, so one hand is going to wash the other. So I would say learn it all so you're versed in everything. You want to be versed in everything. Dispatching animals, processing animals, setting traps and snares, tying knots. But yes, all of these things are starting to get more and more and more expensive because the culture has made them popular. It's just like the DJ world. When DJs weren't really that popular, stuff was semi expensive, but it wasn't over the top. Now everything is over the top because everybody wanted to be a DJ. It was an easy way to get some fame and some fast money because of the whole EDM thing. And I know that's a little off subject, but I'm just using that as an example. And now all the electronics, the gear is thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So think about things like that, man. We sometimes cause our own problems. And I know in a lot of, like myself and a lot of other people on these channels, try and do things because they genuinely want to help and spread information and to help people out. And this is the fastest way for them to do it. It's harder to go door to door with this sometimes, and they feel like, hey, I'm just not reaching enough people, and other people are doing it for profit, trying to get their likes and their views to support their family. And they figure, well, hey, if I could teach this information and make a buck, I'm gonna do it. There's nothing that I've ever asked you guys to support except the channel. Just like and subscribe to the channel and share it and comment. I don't have any Patreons. I don't have any Cash Apps. I don't ask you guys for anything. I never will. If you find that I ever asked you for something, then I really, really need it. I'm in desperate mode. But otherwise, I don't ask for money, for information, teaching you, collecting, anything like that. I do everything out of the sincereness of my heart, and the things that me and my wife share. We just feel like, hey, it would be a cool thing to do a video on things that people do every day that people don't think about, or hey, this is what's happening with us and this is our experience. And people like experiencing things with people and like seeing things. So that's why vlogs and things like that are so popular on YouTube channels and things like that, because it's real life. Like I'm coming to you now, real life. I don't have any adjusted lighting, no backdrops, no. This is real life, and I'm just talking with you. And if you still have questions, put them in the comments. And if you still want to email me, then go ahead and email me. There was another comment that I met a fan or a follower in person at an event, and they asked, would I start doing the videos, or could I start doing the videos in closed captioning? And I didn't think about that because certain people are a little hard of hearing. And I know part of the reason why we started the channel was to encourage people that were overweight like myself, and have certain disabilities and things like that, that you can still get out here and do and be and move around. Don't give up. Try it. If you got one arm, you can still camp. One eye, you can still camp. If you're in a wheelchair, you're only limited to what you tell yourself you can't do. And that's just how we feel about it. Even if you're sick or whatever, get out in the fresh air. Just sometimes try and move around, push yourself a little more. And you may be surprised. You never know what nature will reverse for you. Just get out there and try. Just try and keep trying. The first time may be a little hard. Second time might be a little harder. Third time might be like, oh, it's not as bad. But just try. Just try. What do you got to lose? make your body move, work, keep your mind going. So many people are getting dementia and things like that because they're in a constant loop of doing the same thing. And you have to expose your mind and your brain to different things, different challenges to keep it going. You have to get out and conversate with people. You have to get out and talk and have discussions and solve puzzles together. And what I mean by puzzles, just puzzles of life. Think, just talk, because it keeps the mind going. If your mind is like any other muscle. When it stays stagnant, it gets weak. It doesn't function as properly, and it starts to decay. So these are things you want to do. We're gonna figure out a way in the future to have camping for people that are in wheelchairs, or going through different challenges, physically and stuff like that, where we can get you guys out there to do some things. We're working on that currently. So don't think that you counted out. In our last video, I don't know if you saw the one where we did the ones for the RVs. One of the things that my wife brought up is, going to these RV shows and different things like that. They never made it easy for people that were in motorized scooters and wheelchairs, or that were on crutches or something like that. They didn't make it real easy for people to get up into the RVs to even see what they look like. The most these people could do was roll by and look at the outside and depend on somebody that they're with to tell them what the inside is like. And that's not fair. That's not fair. And I'm not blaming anyone. I think we all get in this space where we assume everybody is, physically capable of doing everything all the time. And we don't allow for people that have challenges to experience some of the same thing as people that can move around better. It's just the way of the world. Sometimes we just get so hyper focused on one thing and we forget about the other things that are very important as well. So we're going to push and talk to a lot of these places that put on these shows and things like that to make things more capable for people with challenges, so they can get in and experience things just like everybody else. But that's what we're about on this channel. We may not be a big channel or a popular channel, but this is what we're about. We really care about people. So I'm hoping that this helped a little bit for a lot of you guys to answer some questions that you've been asking. That's the only advice I can give, is take care of your main necessities: food, water, shelter. Get what you can while you can. And yeah, things are a lot more expensive now. And the things that you need now, from medical supplies to camping gear to tools, just everything is going up. And when we were talking about this in 2023, and we were talking about this in 2019 and 2021, people were blowing it off. And now here we are, and people are like, what do we do? How are we going to do it? Again, concentrate on your basics: food, water, shelter, and safety. Food, water, shelter, and safety. And as it comes to safety, everything is not about a gun and a bullet. That seems to be everybody's first choice. It's an obvious choice, but as I said in the past videos, get proficient with a crossbow, get proficient with a bow and arrow, hatchets, swords, knives. Make your own weapons, create weapons, get more tactically smart about, your homestead, your home, how you're going to protect it, cameras, Wi-Fi. get off of general social media. Maybe you might have to look into dark web stuff. Create your own language, your own code, so that you and your group only will understand what you're talking about. You feel me? Stock up on fuel for your generators. Work on protecting your electronics in case there's an EMP, because they keep talking about there may be an EMP, there may be an EMP. And if there is, think about the repercussions of that. Gas pumps, gas stations won't be able to pump fuel. Water processing plants will stop, because we run everything off of technology and websites, and this is why things are hacked. And you get hacked because these central systems that supply lights and fuel and all of these things, we got the internet now, and we got a website now, and we run everything electronically now. Nothing's really done manually anymore. So if an EMP hits, everything stops. And they said that these EMPs, when they hit, it could put people in the dark for a few months, 6 months, 8 months, whatever the case may be, depending on how long they want us to be down. Let's be realistic about it. And how many people in the population it will wipe out. And it was in the millions. It was in the millions, because you have people that have pacemakers, and some people are going through life support and different things like that depend on electronics and batteries and things like that. People are buying all these battery operated vehicles, and you don't think about that if an EMP hits it, it may not run, it won't run. And if some vehicles do run, they will have certain issues. Now, again, when that trend started coming up, what happened? Everybody rushed out and started buying used and old vehicles that didn't require or use a lot of electronics. And now those prices are skyrocketing. Then we also have to add into the fact that newer vehicles, trucks, and cars are ridiculously stupid overpriced. And people are going back to those old 2005, 2002s, 1995s. Anything that they can find is just basic engine, and that is very cheap to repair, and the parts are available. But now you're spending huge amounts of money for these vehicles that, otherwise you would probably only spend $1,000 for five. Remember, you usually can find a nice beat around car between $500 to $2,000, maybe $2,500. Now those same vehicles are $15,000, $10,000, $8,000, because we move in fear, we move in panic, and nobody wants to get caught with their pants down. Nobody wants to get caught standing, like I said in the beginning of this video, standing naked before everybody and say, how did I get here? Everybody wants to be prepared. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just because of that, the people that we purchase from take advantage of that. They take advantage of our fears. They take advantage of a lot of the things that we are concerned about to make a profit, and not realizing that they're even pricing themselves out the game, to the point where people are like, well, you know what, I'm not going to buy it. Or you putting people in a situation where, you know what, I'm just going to take it from you. And I would never advise that, but I mean, we have to deal with reality. That is the mindset for a lot of people. If you can't give me something at a reasonable price and I'm willing to pay for it, I'm willing to work for it, and you still want to continue to gouge me, then there's only going to be two options. Either I'm going to walk away and try and find something else, or that same person is going to try and take it from you because they're furious at the fact that you would even do that in the first place. So these are things that are happening in the world right now. And I can't comment right or left, Democrat, Republican, Independent. At the end of the day, we are in shift right now. And the hope is that what we have available right now, we can maintain ourselves, keep moving, and come up with a better plan, and hope that whatever's on the other side of this is going to be better than or greater than what we're going through and what we're leaving behind. That is the hope. We're hoping that after, just like when we think about the fires and everything like that are happening, in I think it was California or Florida. Brain is a little slow right now, but at the end of the day, think about it this way: what's going to be rebuilt there, what's going to regrow there, what's going to come back better, bigger and better. Some people say, it's a scheme, it's this, it's that, they're trying to take the land, and all of that may be true, but all the things that we're going through, think about all the things that we're going through. It's a purpose for it. It might be a time for change and rebuild. It's bringing some communities closer. It's bringing some family members closer. It's bridging the gaps with people. And that's the other thing. You think about the movie The Ants, and then I'm gonna conclude this video. But if you think about the movie The Ants, when when he says, if they know that it's more of them than us, we're in trouble. And right now, that's where we're at. People are starting to wake up and understand that it's more of us than them, and we need to make these changes. And at the end of the day, we can't outgun them. We can't. I mean, everybody's talking about they get on YouTube and all this stuff talking about, oh, my AR, my this, my that, my 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 rounds. Yar, rah, 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 rah. We can't outgun them. We can't. But what we can do is definitely put a pinch on them economically. And that is to what they are afraid of. See, you have to understand what your enemy is afraid of. Your enemy is afraid of people uniting together. That's the first thing. To be united and coming at them at a force is very frightening for them, and pulling out of their system. So if you pull out of the system, they can't make money. They can't make you dependent on them if you pull out of the system. They can't control you if you are a united people. When you're able to put down your prejudice, your politics, your religious beliefs, and your colorism issues, and say, hey, we're people, we need to eat, we deserve to live, we deserve to be able to function and live a life of equality here in our country, and not just in our country, but in the world. Living should not be a privilege. Existing as a people should not be a privilege. It should be a right. And they turned our lives into privilege. Oh, it's a privilege that you be able to drive your car. It's a privilege that you're able to walk down the street. It's a privilege that you're able to buy a home. It's a privilege that you're able to get medical insurance. It's a privilege for you to have a driver's license. It's a privilege for you to have a passport. It should be a right as a human being. I don't care where you come from on the globe. You should be able to have food, shelter, water, protection, and fair wages for whatever you do. It's just, and we've gotten convinced that everything in the world, we should move on a privilege basis of things, and unfortunately, you see where that's got us. But they understand that, and they're understanding that people are waking up to that now, and that's scaring them, and that's why different things are happening in the world the way they're happening now to regain control. Now, some people may believe this, some people may not believe this, but this is where we're at. And if you don't believe in any of that other stuff and you want to push that to the side and say, oh, no, it can never, no, that's not happening, then what you want to do, is make sure that, again, I'm going to go back, that you have the basics and you have a way to take care of you and your family. And those of us that have that kind of money, that you could throw money at everything and have your fancy bunkers and, your millions and dollars worth of supplies and all-terrain vehicles and things like that, go for it. Lastly, there are some things that you could do for EMP. They have devices that you can find them on Amazon. I was going to do, because this video is raw right now, I don't have any way to insert anything. I'm just going to put it up just the way it is. I'm not doing any editing in this video where I would just do all these little screenshots of things. But you can go to places like Amazon and certain stores and find circuit breakers that you could put, EMP surge protectors that you could put on your breaker box of your house. They're running around about, on average, $300-400. And I would only encourage you to get these if you're in an area where you're constantly getting brownouts or power outages or something like that. Don't buy these out of fear. Buy them because storms hit, I get high winds, and I get like brownouts. See, like my wife and I, we experience brownouts quite a bit during storm season. And because of me doing what I do for a living and what she does for a living, we depend on our electronics. And, me as an engineer and for what she does, at the end of the day, we can't have our, the things we use getting constant power surges. Even though we do have power surge protection on a lot of our things in the home, we would like to put one actually on our fuse box, So that is a necessity for us. It's not a fear thing. It's just a necessity. So I'm saying, don't spend that money if you don't actually need it. Now, for vehicles, they sell the same type of EMP proof stuff that you can put these units. They attach to the battery and to the ground of your vehicle, into your electronics. They're very simple to put on. Some of them have extra fuses and junctions to go through that give them even more protection, that you could put in series with them. And those are selling for $300, $400, $500, depending. If you want to invest that in your vehicle to make sure that it doesn't surge, by all means, get it. If you have a home and you have to have backup generators, look into GenRack. Go get you a switch system that you can install on your fuse box, where you could plug in your generators. You could plug in your solar gens or your gas generators and just switch everything off of your line power and onto your solar power or your gas generator power. So those are other options. Canning and all of that is great. I'm not against canning and all that. You should absolutely can if you can. I would encourage you to get more freeze-dried stuff. Get you a freeze dryer if you want to invest, or a dehydrator. Reason why is because when we think about what just happened with the floods and everything in Carolina and stuff like that, there were tons of preppers that had bins and cabinets full of that stuff, and it was just floating down the road and getting stuck in the mud. And I mean, it helped some people that walked by that were hungry for sure. But at the end of the day, that stuff is heavy. It's heavy. And if you can freeze dry it or dehydrate it and just add water to it, it's probably a better way to do it. You can eat more dehydrated fruit. Those things last longer. They have more shelf stability. And if you ever had to go on the run, would you rather grab cases of canned goods and mason jars, or would you rather grab something that's lightweight, that's freeze dried, and you can just, throw them in your vehicle? You can probably carry garbage bags full of that stuff and won't weigh down anything, versus carrying a garbage bag full of cans or a bin full of cans. So if you can get a freeze dry, get it. If you got a friend or somebody in the community that has one, work out something with them where you could go and just freeze dry your milk and your eggs and things like that. Put them in bags that that you can close airtight. Put some moisture absorbers in there to make sure that there's no moisture in them. Vacuum seal those bags and put them up. Because even buying rations now from different companies, Mountain House and all these other companies, I can't even think of all of them right now, Patriots and ReadyWise, all of these companies, the prices are high, $200 and $300 and $150. And, and some of them say, hey, this is only for 3 weeks of meals, and this is only for a month worth of meals or whatever, and those prices are high. So if you got your own crops and you say, well, I got all these excess tomatoes and I got all these excess peaches and I got all these excess, greens or whatever the case, freeze dry them. Fruit, freeze dry it or dehydrate it, put it in bags and put it up, and all you need is water. So yes, save water. Even the water barrels have went up. Water barrels were at least between $10 to $25 for a 55-gallon drum that was food grade, and now they're at $109, $110. People are buying the little modular ones, the little, what I call the little blue boxes and things like that, where you can stack them up like Legos and have your water that way. Whatever works for you, just remember to treat your water every 6 months if you're doing that, and or every year. Have a filtration system for that water. When you get ready to use it, still filter it and keep it in a cool, dry place. And if you ever had to bug out or leave, then at least know that you could go to that and have your handy water jugs, and or they sell all these different types of water jugs that you can take on the road, and just fill them up with water. Some of them are 10 gallons, some of them are 2.5 gallons, some of them are 5 gallons, whatever the case may be. Fill that up, throw a bunch of them on the road, and get to going. Buying all these bottled waters is all it's doing is creating more plastic and pollution in our world, putting more microplastics in our body because we're constantly drinking from these plastic bottles, and we're buying cases and cases of water and cases of water, and there's water coming right out of, I understand if you live in an area where the water is bad, but get better filters, make your own Berkey systems. If you can afford to buy a Berkey, then buy it. I got a video on here, making your own Berkey. Things like that are not getting as many views, and I find that surprising. Get out there and start purifying your own water, bottling your own water, putting up your own water. We keep buying water, and it makes no sense. And me and my wife, we're guilty of it too, buying cases and cases of water. When we got water coming out of the tap that we have multiple filters on, that we could filter our water, put it up, and save it, and we don't have to keep buying bottled water. We buy bottled water because it's convenient, but we're paying the price for that. If you think about average, write down one day, those of you that buy bottled water, and think and write down what is costing you, how much of that you buy per month for the year, and total up how much money you could be saving right now. And again, some of y'all that are in areas where you have no other choice, I get it. But those of you all that do have a choice, think about that. This video is already 45 minutes long. I didn't mean for it to go that long, but I was trying to run through my head and address everything. And again, I had to search my head and search what I read. So hopefully you stuck with the video long enough to get a lot out of it. I'm going to leave it at this point. I think you guys get my point right now. And I'll catch you on the next one.